Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
At the NRM Secretariat, Honorable Emmanuel Dombo Lumala joins us tonight, together with Honorable Odonga Oto, Doctor, former MP Aru County, who is now in the trenches, making a comeback. Good to have you all, and a very good evening. I'll begin with you, Honorable Dombo. How is the NRM Secretariat analyzing the outcome and the entire process?
Simon, first of all, allow me to express our gratitude to the Next Media House. You have really given us prominent coverage, 360 degrees of this election, right from the time when the campaign started.
Thank you.
And to us, we don't take this as a mean contribution. You have in time relayed the information, and even some of the information that you are giving me here, I'm not yet aware. And I want our listeners and viewers down there, they should not take this as a tally center. They should just take it as a news.
Provisional.
A news, because, you know, NBS the other time was accused of coming up with presidential results, yet you had direct contact with the Electoral Commission, but people started saying their things. They didn't know that you are ahead of everybody when it comes to collecting news. Even when what you are showing right now, me as the director of information, I hadn't collected all this information. Even when I collect it, I will need to synthesize it and find out and reconfirm, so that when I communicate, people should know.
I guess what you're sure of is that there was violence, widespread. You're sure of late delivery of polling items, and you're also sure of reports of irregularities.
I want to tell you that in the NRM primaries, we had more violence before the elections, because we had a number of deaths. We have death in Busia, we have death in the Budaka, in the Sinjiro, and everybody had anticipated that because of what had happened during the campaigns, then they come the voting day. Everybody expected that perhaps something worse was going to happen. Even us. But because this gave us an opportunity to see and anticipate, then forewarned, you get forearmed. So as a party, we had to think ahead with the advice of the national chairman and the directorate of directly working with the Secretary General and the agencies of government. Enough deployment had to be discussed and negotiated so as to secure the members of the party and the members of the public who wanted to watch, and we had a credible process and a credible election. In some areas, the deployment could have affected us by preventing some people, scaring people from voting, but you'd rather prevent people from voting through getting scared than having people who have died because police hasn't done its work. So allow me at this time really commend the Inspector General of Police and the other agencies of government, all the senior officers of police with whom they have worked to ensure that they have secured this process. This election should have given them an indication of how the general election is going to be, the level of escalation, and the level of deployment that may be needed. The other one will be bigger, I know, but I am sure this is something that has helped the police to do the planning. For me, on the national resistance movement, I'm only appealing to those who have won. I congratulate them first of all, but I want to tell them that at the end of the day, we shall need all the losers and winners to move together before we begin encountering.
Is this an election NRM can proudly write home about?
Absolutely, yes.
With all the bloodshed, the deaths, and the anomalies?
Well, everything provides us an opportunity to learn something. Because the death occurred during the campaigns, we had to prepare so that the elections were much better.
Even today there were deaths.
We are waiting for the report from police, but so far when we scan throughout the whole country, we believe that this election was much better than what many people had anticipated. So to us, we can't take that for granted. We can say that we shall progressively improve and do much better.
Thank you. Honorable To, the country went into this election with a sense of deja vu, that perhaps what's happened before could happen again. And do you see any surprises? And did NRM appear like they've learned nothing and forgotten nothing?
I think I've been observing the elections from home deliberately. And I would want to say organizing elections in 70,000 polling stations for a 72,000 polling stations for a political party in this country. It's a clear indicator that the party has finally entrenched himself. Because we have had scenarios, even in FDC, where in a presidential election, we cannot front agents in all the polling stations in the country. So to see a situation where almost 99% of the elective positions in the NRM were competitive, to me as a political philosopher, it tells me that it seems we have gone back to the movement political system. The multipartyism is not working. Because even when the opposition tries to organize a meeting, like National Unity Platform, in their own premises, which in political science we say it is even a cultural gala, you lock yourself in your gate and do what you want inside your gate. But the police still storms in and beats up people inside their gate, not even in the streets. So to me, I see that we may celebrate that the election of the NRM was successful countrywide, but for me, I cannot celebrate because the multipartyism is failing. The political parties have not grown to successfully conduct their activities. So that's the first observation.
But would you give it to NRM that their internal democracy has worked?
No,
amidst all the grumbling.
No, it has not worked. We have seen pictures of people distributing money. Pay as you go. They are distributing money in broad daylight, and then you go and line up. This is an indictment to the internal democracy of the NRM. We have seen situations of death. Why should people die in an inter-party election? It's like a fight between a man and a woman, or two brothers in a family homestead. It should not reach a level of someone being buried 6 feet deep in the ground. This is a serious indictment, and it passes a clear message that if they can do this to themselves, what can they do to the Semujus of this world?
If I can hold you there,
yes.
One of the hotspots that we've been watching keenly is Sembabule, and indeed Sembabule politics has taken center stage in all discussions. Right now as we speak, we are yet to get the outcome of the showdown between Honorable Sekikubo Theodore and Honorable General Rwashande. But Hakim Wampamba is on the ground to share with us the latest. Hakim, in the morning, the area of Sembabule was tense. We saw huge deployment. Has the situation changed at all? And how do things look like as we speak?
21.
Well, that deployment has been doubled or tripled as we get forward or closer to the reading out of the results of the constituency members of parliament, because the results that are being read on that microphone, or the ones that you can be able to hear in my background, are for the woman district MP, and at least we can be able to tell you that it is still also very early to tell or call the race for the woman district, for the district woman MP, or whoever has attained that particular flag, depending on what you can be able to hear. So at least in the distance of about 1 or 2 kilometers from the district headquarters, you have seen serious roadblocks that have been mounted to bar all the cars that want to reach here. So for you to reach here, you need to first give some really good explanations. And outside, security agencies like police, UPDF, the police field force unit, among others, are manning this particular area and having their boots right on ground. One of the candidates, at least for the constituency member of parliament, is right here. That is Brigadier General retired Emmanuel Rwashande is already here along with his supporters. We haven't seen the Honorable Sekikubo right here, and we do not know what political undertone that gets to paint, or the sort of picture that gets to paint right here. We also haven't seen another NRM bigwig or strong woman, Joy Kafula Kabasi, right here. I haven't seen her, and she hasn't been able to vote for herself even during the day. So what I can be able to tell you right here is that the stakes are everything. The stakes are really high, and everyone is really looking forward. The journalists are here scampering for that news-making shot as people get to note down in their notebooks what the results really look like for each of them, and each and every other person is right here waiting to have that race at least declared, and we get to know the winner by the close of this particular one. So each and every other person is really honestly and anxiously waiting for those results. But early alone in the day, we have spotted some specks of violence here and there, but according to the district registrar, she has said that it has been largely peaceful because no one has been shot, no tear gas canister has gone off. Something or things that she thinks are really elevating the level of Zimbabwe, at least when it comes to peaceful elections or internal politics or internal voting or the party primaries in Zimbabwe, contrary to what it has been over the years in 2006, 2011 and 2021. So that is the general picture that I can be able to give you right now as we keep holding fort here, as we wait for that final announcement, as I get back to Simon at the Political Command Center.
Well, very interesting. We certainly keep tabs on what's happening, especially at the tally centers. Declaration of results is still underway, but what we gather so far is that there are already parties, there are already cheers and jubilations in some areas, and tears in other areas. Yes, you were winding up, yes.
I think also it paints an ugly picture if you see military men, Uganda People's Defense Forces, in an internal party matter. This is something we should not take for granted. The Honorable Dombo and Honorable Tubi Ofondo Pondo, I hope you have seen the zeros today. And there are more zeros than figures, so you have to tighten your belts. But to see soldiers with AK-47s,
just come and help me campaign.
Yes, to see soldiers with AK-47s, Uganda People's Defense Forces, in a polling station, I think that is so bad. We have trained patriotism clubs, we have scouts in school. I think this should be protested. And as I talk now, in Gulu, there is tear gas, there's live bullets. One of the candidates has been arrested by SFC, Bosmiko team. So this should not be the spirit of internal party democracy. It's disparaging and it paints a very bad image of the country.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Well, you must be shocked.
Why?
It should be sending you signals
No.
of what is yet to befall you.
I have been the spokesperson of NRM. I was for many years, decades actually, and spokesperson of our task forces. And so I have an insight into what goes on inside NRM elections and politics and also outside. But let me say, personally, I am not surprised, but there is improvement. Where are areas of improvement? You remember the last time we had elections, we had no register at all.
And this time there were no names on the register.
No. This time we had registers.
But you accused the Mama Babas of running away with you.
Yes. I'm saying, last time we had elections, we had no register at all. This time we have registers for every district.
A contested register.
Listen, if you want to debate, I can leave you to debate alone.
Okay, fine.
This time we have a register which we relied on. There were isolated instances where names, including of big people, were missing.
And some candidates.
And some candidates. For example, I can tell you, the Right Honorable Secretary General, the register came and his name was missing. I suspect.
The architect of the register?
Yes, I suspect our young people we are using in the data center computer probably are not well skilled with the computer application in use. They cannot transfer the data properly. Honorable Barrio Musi, another one, a candidate, a member of SEC, a prominent person, his name was missing. But they identified earlier and they were corrected. There were late deliveries for different reasons. Either they are updating, correcting the mistakes, the loopholes, or even the logistical. You tell people to park, and they park different things. And you drive up to Jinja, going to Mbali, then you discover that the box you are carrying is actually from pig.
That's ill-preparedness.
Yeah, ill-preparedness comes from a number of things. It could be the people you are using. In our Ugandan society here, if you ask people to do parking, how many people have done professional parking? So we take all that into consideration. But by and large, 3/4 of the constituencies received materials in time and relied on registers. And there were fallback position, assuming the register had mistakes. How quickly can you make the correction? And that explains part of the delay. You say we are going to start reading names at 10:30. Because of the delay, you are correcting, you are sending manual, or you are sending by email, soft copy.
Or you can't treat certain things as isolated incidents.
No.
I'll give you an example.
Yes.
In Arua,
Yes.
Lira, and several other parts.
Don't just say Lira. Lira where? Because it is not the whole Lira district.
We were picking
no.
reports.
No. Yes, I am saying Lira district has how many polling stations? Has how many villages? And how many villages did miss registers or had registers with mistakes? We are not denying that there were no mistakes. But this time around, we relied on the registers.
So the hiccups are negligible?
To me. And I can tell you that these results, even with all that malfeasance, generally reflect the will of the voters in those areas. That's why you are celebrating with glee ministers who have lost. You are announcing with glee. I can see glee. No, I can see glee in his face as he announces the ministers who have lost. And by the way,
that's your observation.
And by the way, yes. And by the way, in the last election, the previous two elections, by the way, 2016 and 2020, we lost 25 ministers in the primaries. This time around, if what I'm picking is correct, they are going to be fewer. Because by this evening, there were about 10. I don't think we are going to exceed another 10 by morning, from what I am gathering from my sources. The other area is that, yes, you may not want police or army men with guns at polling stations. But if the deployment depends on threat assessment, it would be a problem if you have soldiers, you have policemen, and people kill each other while policemen are standing by, folding their arms with the truncheons only. For me, we rather have soldiers and policemen with arms at polling station, and therefore scare away people who would be trouble causers.
Democracy by the barrel of the gun.
Now, if the soldiers had killed people at polling stations or on the way, for me that would be a bigger problem. That would be a bigger problem. So I am saying there is some improvement. Yes, what Honorable Odongoto says, seeing candidates, you have been seeing social media pictures, seeing candidates, ministers, lining up people and giving them 1,000, either at a campaign place or like the case of today in Bardege, where I think a supporter of a candidate was the one giving out 1,000 shillings to voters. That's unfortunate. But again, even that one is isolated. In my constituency, West Budama Central, I know candidates distributed money, but I did not see any candidate or any person distributing money today. I voted in Muranda today, and then I drove. After lining up at about midday, we completed by 1, and I drove to Kampala. Personally, I have not seen, I have not had distribution of money at polling stations. Okay. Again, I want to say distribution of money was done, but again, in the open has been isolated. Now, we have had cases where, like in the case of Zimbabwe, where Sekikubo is complaining, or you are told you are going to vote at place X, and then the mischief of the candidates and probably the returning officers, they shift the polling station. It is only known to the supporters of one candidate, probably that one. But in this particular time, I want to see, I think, my snapshot, there has been slight improvement. Violence, yes. Bravery, yes. Intimidation, yes. But I think on a lower scale than
some features of what has happened in the past.
This
is typical NRM.
Same features, same features, isolated and also diminished in intensity. So for me, there has been a market improvement. Not where we want to be, but there's an improvement. You are talking about police and so on. You have seen political parties. A chairman of a party climbing over the wall, and police has to rescue him. There was no election. They were just disputing.
You're arguing that
No.
out of context.
I'm not arguing out of context. I am saying there's a political party. They were not in an election. But a chairman of that party, national chairman of that party, scaled a barbed fence wall and had to be rescued by police.
He was not rescued by police.
So
police was there to arrest him.
So the other improvement, NRM had 72,000 polling stations. National Electoral Commission has, I think, 42,000.
No.
They're more than, but less than NRMs, and they have more money. Secondly, today we had only one election for members of parliament. Direct constituencies which attracted 1,550 candidates. Women, for the 146 districts, we had 550. So we had 2,100 candidates. And all have been processed, as you can see, by your own news outlet. Results are beginning to come out in relatively short time. By 10 now, we are getting results. You have got results.
So this passes off as an election, right?
For me, it does pass as a good election, and it reflects the will. And you are going to see in the general election, three quarters of the candidates who have passed in the NRM election will be returned on the party ticket in the main election.
Thank you. Honorable Semuju, what are your highs and lows of today's elections?
I want to understand the argument by you, the media, and the NRM people, presenting this as an NRM party election, which it is not. It is. It isn't.
It was based on an NRM register.
When you have the entire state deployed, the entire state, it ceases being an internal party election. The Inspector General of Police was told to go and camp in Zimbabwe. That's where he has been. The military, you have seen it all over. The police. The Electoral Commission, for them to deliver voting material, they will get all the pickups in Kampala. Where does the NRM get the capacity to deliver these materials to the, so he has told you they have more polling stations than the Electoral Commission. So this is not an internal NRM election. It is a state election that has taken place for a different purpose. The entire machinery of the state, there was no worker in Kampala. Everybody has gone. I am surprised even in the evening, no traffic jam. They will, because of propaganda, they will present it as if NRM is very popular.
It is a mass party.
I told someone, a friend, the Palestinians who go to queue to get food from a foundation sponsored by America, by the sheer numbers of those who are going, if you are stupid, you will say that that foundation is very popular. Because even when they kill them, they continue running there. That's what NRM is. This is state. Even people who have lost, in the last primary, those who lost elections, they all went to SIM 7 in Entebbe, and he said, those of you who want jobs, your hand is up. So by losing NRM election, you are given a job instantly. So please stop comparing this.
That's also statecraft.
Yeah, but these are public jobs that everybody must have equal access to. So this wasn't an internal NRM primary. This was another set of a national state election, but the purpose is different. NRM started with an electoral college in which NRM leaders, these dombos, were hiding voters, loading them in buses, sometimes driving them across borders, and then Museveni went looking for a solution. The next election, because NRM cannot claim that they have never had a register. One of the accusations against Amama Mbabazi was that he had run away with their register.
In 2014?
Yes. They cannot be the same people now saying we have never had a register. But you on TVs accusing Amama Mbabazi of running away with your register. NRM people, they like lying. And because people don't record history, so each time they will tell you a different story and make it look like it is a true story. So Museveni ran away from electoral college because of the problems it had. Then he went for a register. Then on voting day, Museveni, who is not the chairman of the electoral commission, said let everybody vote. Now he has spent 42 billion putting together a register, and you have seen 42 billion. That's what they used to put together this register. And in some villages, they were just downloading from electoral commission.
Honorable Dombo, you seem to be dismissing this. 42 billion.
Yes.
You know,
what was the sum?
Members of the opposition.
That's just the register.
Members of the opposition will come up and say anything that they wish. And they have been saying many. If you listen to them, this is Honorable.
No, let's focus on the amount. How much was spent on the register?
When you look at our budget, which you get from the Electoral Commission, we get every quarter about 8 billion. And we had to seek the chairman's permission to spend part of that money into processing.
So how much
register.
did you spend on the register?
The register, we spent about 13 billion. And that, about 13 billion.
That's not true.
Because we collected money in the previous elections, the flag bearers, people who, the nomination fees, which the party chairman directed that that money should never be touched.
Okay. Are you sure of the amount?
Of the amount we spent? Absolutely, yes.
How much was it?
This is what I've just told you, about 12 billion.
No, you say 13.
No, about 12 billion.
Yes,
but also, the process of the register includes printing of the register, includes the displays that have been. This particular register now, the final process, let me tell you, there was something that occurred and which the public should come to know. Because we used the register during the structural elections and LC primaries, we discovered that many people were trying to forge the register during the coming elections. So as top management, we decided to enhance the features. Now, our technical person who was given that feature which enhanced the security of the register displaced a number of names. After we had printed a number of regions, we discovered that security mark, feature we had introduced, had displaced a number of registers. When we called the registrars to come and do verification, many of them started saying that my register in this village, the name is printed up to T. When you opened another register, the names had printed up to. So The challenge is
so you spent 12 billion for a shabby job.
No, it was 42.
so the job was a good job.
Okay.
Because we had to repeat the printing. It delayed us a bit, but it enabled us to know this is a humongous exercise.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed.
They spent 42 billion on this register. It is factual. Dombo can come here and claim that the money we got from Electoral Commission. NRM is not funded by that money. Just the staff.
Do you have facts to this?
Just the staff alone they maintain in each and every district. Annually they pay them more than 21 billion. These fellows have registrars even at a municipal level. And he tells you that the money you get from Electoral Commission, yes, pay the salary. So that
is also not factual. The registrars of NRM are temporary staff who are paid during elections. The admins, we have admins who are full-time in every district, and they have a salary which is paid every month. So but the registrars are paid an allowance. You need to give Dombo his own time because he's disrupting the flow of my thinking.
Okay, go ahead.
So the NRM has a staff that he admits that they maintain a staff in each and every district and municipalities, and they pay them. One time, in fact, Museveni wanted to disband them, and he said the cost on him was very big. That's when he paid 21.
On the party?
On him. All these Dombos are paid by Museveni, money picked from taxpayers' money. So for me, there are two things about this election. The reason I'm giving a background is to tell you the kind of experiment that they are going to keep engaging in almost every cycle, from electoral college to everybody voting, now to register. And you have seen, you see, the reason people moved to separate ballot was to prevent many of the things that you have seen in NRM primary. That you're going to line up people. There is an NRM MP who was grabbed the person, they were lining up, he grabbed, he nearly killed him. Now I'm told in the ensuing scuffle, another person is killed there today. Because you want, I have seen another person as kid. You wait for the news tomorrow. No. Maybe you forget that I am still a journalist.
No. But you should be fair to your listeners. You don't come and band and say somebody was killed in a place and you don't mention the place.
But Domo said here is waiting for the results to communicate to them. So all of us are still waiting for the results, including the results of killing.
No. Don't bundle things and say somebody was killed. You must tell us where that person was killed.
So we are dealing with two things. First, the method of election. And even them going for this sort of election, Museveni said he had wanted to eliminate independence. That when you involve everybody and someone loses, he will not come back because he will have lost. But even if he came back, he will still lose. That was one of the reasons he stated, going away, because everything is run by Museveni. So he said, now, if you are defeated, you can't come back. But even if you came back, you will still be defeated. So he said, now let everybody vote. And one of the things, the figures that you should be looking out for, Simon, is the total number of voters. I hope they will have it, those who have participated. Because NRM claims that they have a register of, is it 18.5?
I think now it's standing at 19 million.
In my area where I am an MP, at every...
Yes, million.
I can give you one constituency, Kagwa, and you can test it. This is my constituency, West Budama Central. Here it says the people who turned up for voting today were 34,156.
And what does the register say?
Now I'm giving you can go and test.
For the register.
You can go and test the National Election Commission register, whether it has less or more.
So in my constituency, I have moved around. I did not find more than 50 people at any polling station in Ichira. There were 20. I think the majority of them were They are electoral officials.
Yeah, but look, throughout the day we've been seeing videos of massive turnouts.
No, I have said I'm talking about my constituency. I didn't say in the whole country. The areas where NRM has supporters. But in Nigeria here, and that was one of the things that was troubling Museveni after the Kawempe election. On the register, they had 25,000 voters, but the NRM person got 8,000, and he had spent 42 billion. He said, where did these voters go? Why did we lose? And these Dombos had a terrible day explaining the sponsor. He said, you brought me a register with 25,000. The candidate has gotten 8,000. So their register is a fictitious register by any standard. That's why I've told you in Ichira, I don't, because the total number of voters in Ichira is 180,000. The ones who have participated in NRM primaries today, they may not even be 5,000. So the registers in our areas are just, they just download from electoral commission because they have to justify Museveni's money. The man can't give you 42 billion to assemble a register and you bring it when there are 10 people. In Kawempe, he kept asking, how comes our candidate has 17 votes?
Well, Honorable
two things about this election. First, stop calling them NRM internal election democracy. This was a state exercise where all state institutions have been drawn in. You've seen the military. I have seen in Kamuli. Even policemen were voting. The Honorable Kadaga need to be asked to explain. I saw where she was. Policemen being counted on the NRM line. Policemen in police uniform. I have seen them in Kamuli. So this exercise of every government institution participating and
have guards or?
I have said I have seen that video. You can go and ask. That's why I said, ask her how did the policemen became NRM to be counted. You have seen Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the CDF, tweeting a whole day in support of Rwashande. So even UPDF was involved. If it is rigging, it must rig. But for me, the most painful thing about these exercises and all the activities around NRM elections is the level of privatization of the state. You can pick any part of the state that you want and deploy. If you want guns, you can have them. If you want money, you can have it. And please, stop presenting this as a bona fide internal NRM election. It was a state exercise from 7 to assemble a team using all the state apparatus.
As we take a break, was there any surprise for you in this exercise?
No, the surprise